Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today, it will probably be a more quick video because I am going to go to the gym after this. Sorry for the reaction. I hate going on Tuesdays, but I'm going to be starting, or I'm not going to, I am starting a new workout routine where I'm going to be going 4 days per week. I probably should vlog it a little bit or something. I don't know. Maybe at least for members. But I'm going to be doing a deadlift the first time in my life. I'm going to be getting on a Stairmaster tonight. Today is leg day. And I'm a little bit of a pussy, so I'm a little nervous, to be honest. I'm also expecting to be kind of sore, but it's just going to be a process today, and especially this week because I have to test my strength with free weights, and it's just going to be a lot, and I have to write it all down and blah, blah, blah. But I'm doing this workout program. It's kind of easier for me. I just don't have to think about it. I can just do the steps and do the workouts. But I haven't done anything like, for example, I haven't done a push-up or no, a sit-up like without a machine ever. So I'm going to try that tonight. I think on one of the days I have to try to do like a pull-up, which I've never done. So yeah, I'm going to be testing some of the limits. I can't even talk. So I'm just a little nervous. Basically, I'm not downsizing, but we're always moving forward. And I'm really in a muscle building era at this time. I'm going to launch the era soon, but I like to be somewhat established in it. But the changes are happening now, basically. And I'm probably going to be extremely sore this week. I still have my last vanity weight era video that I need to do about anhedonia in maintenance. So I'm still formulating because I'm still dealing with it. I don't want to talk about it until it's over, you know? But that's coming at some point in January. So I do have a limit where I'm putting it up in January, period. And then I'll be launching the next era next month. So yeah, all the changes are happening. Went to Aldi, bought chicken thighs. Like, I'm going to put them in the Instapot. Like, I'm getting a lot of protein. I'm going to be eating 1.2 pounds of lean ground beef today after the gym. I just had rice cakes, so I'm still a little, I had caramel, they were like caramel corn rice cakes to prepare for this gym moment. Again, a lot of the things that are happening is like I'm shifting goals. So I have to clarify something. I made a post about this, but I just want to clarify for anybody who is interested. And again, y'all are the daily peeps in January. You can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, but they are both separate goals, meaning that you have to prioritize one over the other. My workout routine for the past 3 years, if not longer, maybe even 4 years, it has been for long haul downsizing. Today, it's now for muscle building. So it shifts. So some of the diet changes, some of the habits change, the workouts are different, like everything is changing basically. So, and it's because the goal is different. And then I am within maintenance. So I am eating more. And yeah, it's just totally different. So again, plenty of protein, lots of protein tomorrow. I'm eating mostly protein tomorrow, actually, but I'm kind of nervous because leg days are hard for me. And it's just really important for maintenance, metabolic health, honestly, everything. Your legs are everything. Your legs matter so much. They're not talked about enough. So I'm just kind of saying that in general today. So again, I am preparing for maintenance, or I am going into maintenance seriously. I am dealing, and I'm using this overall boring lesbian auntie moment in time to make the shift at the gym. It's also really important to use boring or slow periods of time to do this. So I think it's perfect in my anhedonia moment because I'm so bored to death and this just gives me something to do. And my other workouts were making me hella sore for no reason anyways. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't giving. So that's my long spiel. This video will be shorter anyways. So I just wanted to update y'all really quick. And also just give my perspective that I'm currently at because I'm not technically going on a diet this January. So I wanted to tell y'all what I'm doing. But I obviously completely support you guys that are on a downsizing journey. I completely support, completely. I'm with you in spirit and I'm still doing shit. I'm still getting shit done. So it's not like I'm not doing anything. Okay? So anyways, let's go. No, you don't need to go on a diet this January. Trying to shrink yourself, trying to take up as little space in this world as possible, and trying to control your body lead only to anguish. If you do one thing for yourself this January, remember that. It also leads to results, though. And that's the thing. Like, is it fun to be sore? No. I personally don't like being sore. But does it matter for my goals, both aesthetic and maintenance? Yes, it matters. It matters to have legs. I want to have some beefy legs. Beefy legs, ass, tits, arms. I want it. So it's not just about aesthetics, although it is definitely a part of it. But it's also about maintenance. When you have a lot of muscle, it's easier to maintain, period. So it's like, honey, no. We're not playing around. We're setting this up to be the best possible outcome possible, and it'll be great. And I will succeed. And all the people that are salty and hoping that I don't, you will be left holding your breath forever. That's basically all I have to say. And like I said, I will not be humble about it. Everybody tries to humble you. Don't. Be confident. Confidence is key. Okay, let's continue. It's January. This article wants you to not be confident, too. It's January. You've just had a joyous month of Christmas parties, mince pies. Oh, this is Britishy, by the way. Glamour UK, not letting down. You've just had a joyous month of Christmas parties, mince pies, mulled wine, and techie naps. I don't even know what that is. But all of a sudden, you're hearing the phrase January diet a lot too. In fact, at least one family member or friend has vowed to start a new diet and exercise regime. You may already be feeling a little sluggish and vulnerable about your body. All this toxic diet chat. Diet starts tomorrow. I'm going to eat salad only for a week. Better start working off the Christmas weight. Really isn't helping. It's not anybody else's business to make this easier for you. I know that people hate that when you say it, but this is reality. Okay, like we're living in real life. If you have toxic ritualistic issues, which for those of you guys who are not on the channel, which if you guys lasted for my preamble and you're not on the channel typically, God bless you. The toxic ritualistic is a coded way of talking about E followed by the letter D, particularly hinge. So we tend to focus on the side that does too much, the side that leads to upsizing, which we have to be careful with terms. So yeah, hopefully you can follow. But yeah, it's within your recovery, you have to get used to these conversations. This is going to come up in life, and it's not really my position as a recovered person to tell you that you have to hide yourself in a padded cell forever. You're going to have to deal with these conversations. You're going to have to process, or you're going to have to come to terms with allowing other people to do things. Because part of the issue itself is trying to control others and control their behavior around consumption. So that's a part of the toxic ritualistic. You have to stop doing that. Stop trying to do that in general. That happens it can happen on all sides of the toxic ritualistic or all forms of it, but you have to let that go. So if people are talking about what they're doing, understand that they're an individual, you're an individual. What they're doing is not what you're doing, and you're going to have to hear about it. And remember, it is a toxic ritualistic idea that you have to do whatever other people are doing, or you have to rebel against what other people are doing. That other people doing what they're doing somehow makes you have to change what you're doing. That is a toxic ritualistic idea that we reject. Okay? All right. Do you know what else isn't going to help? Right about now, just as you're getting that post-Christmas downturn in self-esteem, you'll start to notice weight loss companies, gyms, personal trainers, diet books, and wellness influencers ramp up their chorus, New Year, New You. If it makes you feel shit about yourself, well, that's the aim. I think the aim is just to make money. But, it's always funny how they don't ever consider how, like, fast food companies or, kind of, at least in America, we describe things as kind of like frankenfoods. So they're kind of like cartoon. I like to call it cartoon foods. They don't talk about how those are marketed. They don't care about that. It's like we only care about marketing if it has to do with downsizing. We don't care about it if it has to do with like trick cereal for kids. We don't care about that. So to me, it's like it just falls flat for me. If you were consistent, like for me, I talk about on this channel cartoon foods, diet culture foods. That's what I call it, because I see diet culture. There's a diet culture that has to do with downsizing, and there's a diet culture that has to do with upsizing. And they both have to do with kind of fake foods, or foods that are mostly air, or foods that are like weird ingredients, or like I like to use the neon dye colors, for example, as a diet culture concept, where it's not 100% real food. It's like cartoonish, which I think it is a spectrum. But at least from how I see diet culture foods, it's funny to me to see fat activists talk about diet culture when they engage in it too, because they're eating fast food. If you look at fast food ice cream, it's really crazy. If you look at those fries or chips, as the Britishy would say, at least in the US, I don't know if it's different across the pond, but I would be shocked. I know the oils are still crap, probably in the UK. But the actual fries themselves, it's like a bunch of weird stuff that's like, it's barely even a potato. Like, I think it's like a ground up potato with all these weird ingredients. Like, to me, that is diet culture as well. So I don't see a difference, because to me, it's like, just because one has to do with downsizing, if the other one has to do with upsizing, is it really any different? Because you're still changing your body. In reality, it's about changing your body. Why are those foods that way? It's to help you gain, basically. I mean, people don't think of it that way, but it's the reality of it. Do our thoughts determine reality? Not necessarily. Maybe our subconscious thoughts, like how we think about food, it can affect how we view it. But in reality, that food is engineered to help you upsize, just like a traditional diet culture food is engineered to help you downsize, but it works either way. So it's like, I don't see it as evil, but I do see it as not real. And I think we have to make sure that we're eating mostly real food, or at least considering it, because there's a lack of nutrition in fast food, in rice cakes. If I was only eating rice cakes, there's no nutrition in that. So it's like, we have to have perspective. We have to stay logical and reasonable about these things. And in my opinion, fat acceptance doesn't help at all. And I think a lot of times the side that focuses on downsizing, they're just thinking about marketing, but they're not always providing that perspective of like, hey, make sure you're getting iron. Because a lot of the foods that we promote for downsizing, they don't have iron. Try to consider if you need heme iron, if you absorb heme iron or non-heme iron or not, or if you are strong enough to do that. Otherwise, you need to make sure you're getting some red meat. You don't hear that within diet culture. They're like very averse to red meat. And you'll see that a lot within fat acceptance too. A lot of times they're against red meat too. So they're against there is this bias against hearty, real foods like potatoes or red meat or, things like that actually have nutrition in them, where often it'll just be like, have diet soda or have some, McDonald's fries, It's just interesting. It's just what I think about. I've experienced all of it, I'm not coming at it from like a holier than thou perspective. It's just, as somebody who's experienced Hinge so deeply and so intensely, there were certain behaviors I would do so that I could continue to overindulge, basically. And part of that is having certain things over other things. So it works both ways, and I see it that way. That's why I have that perspective. So anyways, let's continue. But what if there was another way? What if this year we gave ourselves permission to stay as we are? What if we declined the persistent invitation to reinvent ourselves and instead learn to have a healthy, functional, or even joyous relationship with food and our bodies? So are you advocating for maintenance? You're advocating to not upsize at all too? Because depending on who you're talking to, that could be a little bit diet culture-y. Unless you're okay. They seem to always be okay with one side. But I guess I'm listening. I guess Glamour UK is so proud of me because I'm maintaining. But, I am still going to the gym to build muscle. Is that changing my body? Do you have a problem with that? I guess you do, don't you? You see, that's the thing too. When you put this in this perspective, you don't always recognize how much it takes to maintain, especially a huge size. There's a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of times people that have the Hinge issue, they ignore all the work that goes into it, all the money, all the time, all the obsession, all the waste of thought, the mental bandwidth that goes into it, all the gaslighting, all the excuses, all the avoidance of responsibility and feelings. Oftentimes, all of that is a lot of work that it's never really talked about. All that's talked about is, well, I enjoy this. But a lot of times when people have the Hinge issue, they're not actually enjoying it either. So it's kind of like that whole thing of pick your poison. What amount of suffering do you want? Or what, life is not just all pleasure. So in some cases, you get to choose what kind of pain you get, Is it the pain of staying the same, the pain of change? Is it sore muscles from trying to build them? Is it being irritated because you're in a deficit? Is it, feeling a little fuller because you're trying to bulk or whatever, or in some cases gain? What is it? Because oftentimes we are, human beings, and in general, all of life is striving for homeostasis. And that has to do with accepting that circumstances shift over time, over days, weeks, months, seasons, years of our life. And understanding that change is necessary. Change happens all the time within every single life form on this planet. But somehow fat acceptance is trying to act like human beings are immune from that, which is delusional. Okay? So this whole article is just stupid from the very foundation. While we've seen a worrying rise of the Ozempic influencer and the concerning return of Y2K heroin chic rhetoric in 2025, thankfully there is an enduring body positivity movement too. Somebody was funny in my comments. They're like, that was actually in the 90s. I'm like, yeah, I think so. It's funny. The anti-diet movement, it's just funny because they can't even get that right. The anti-diet movement is growing stronger, and with it, their message. It's time we rejected the lucrative, often sexist propaganda that tells us we're not enough and learn to believe in ourselves as we are. Books that called out that the endless food fads, diet culture, and toxic wellness industry gained traction. I want you to call out the other side too, though, because otherwise you're a hypocrite. So you're okay with fast food corporations That's fine. You don't get to pick that. You don't get to pick one and leave the other. Otherwise, you're just a hypocrite. This has been one of the worst things about this movement is such blatant hypocrisy. Whereas I actually, as an activist, I engage with both sides. I talk about both. There was Dr. Alexis Connaissance, The Diet-Free Revolution, 10 Steps to Free Yourself. Maybe Alexis or Alexi, I don't know. 10 Steps to Free Yourself from the Diet Cycle with Mindful Eating and Radical Self-Acceptance. Pixie Turner's The No Need to Diet book. How to Be a Diet Rebel and Make Friends with Food. And Just Eat It, How Intuitive Eating Can Help You Get Your Shit Together Around Food by Laura Thomas. They all preach the same very welcome message, that it's time we unlearn the fearful, anxiety-laden messages of diet culture we've been living in most of our lives. Okay, but so you still want people to change then. So it's like, I want you to change the way that I want you to change. Which, okay, go ahead, advocate, go off, queen. But you don't get to tell other people not to advocate too. It doesn't work that way. Because you're still telling somebody to change their mind. You're telling me to intuitively eat. What if I don't want to? Then you're trying to tell me what to do. Because there is also a standard within intuitive eating. Well, you're not doing it right. I've heard that so many times with intuitive eating people. You're not doing it right. So that means there is a standard, which means you have to change. So you're still advocating for change. But it's okay if you do it. It's just not okay if anyone else does. Because you're a hypocrite. Perhaps, guided by these experts, we could rewrite our New Year's resolutions. Perhaps we could vow to try and accept ourselves, care for ourselves, and ease our blank, our toxic ritualistic. As Laura Thomas writes in her book, the toxic ritualistic is thought to affect between 50 and 75% of women. I think that is a disgusting overestimation. That is so not true at all. That has never been true. That is absolutely ridiculous. And it tells me that Laura probably has a problem and she is so overly projecting it onto all of women. That is ridiculous. We're inundated with messages that we have to change ourselves to accept ourselves. Again, you're still telling me that I have to change myself. I want to point that out. And she's therefore telling y'all that you have to change yourselves too. You're still telling us. So shut it. You're not any different. Anyways. To diet, to exercise, to control what we eat, says Thomas. And at the end of that rainbow, we'll find the pot of gold, and that is this flawless life. Well, and that's a myth. It's a myth if they say it. It's a myth if you say it. It is about homeostasis. We evolve with changing circumstances every day. I have always hated the idea of a completely static journey since I've started my activism on this channel. We change over time. All of life changes. And again, you're still telling me what to do. That's the lie. Diet culture tells us that if we're thinner or if we fit a certain dress size, we'll be cooler, happier, and more worthy of love. But actually, you get to that elusive place and you realize you still have all your problems, but you've added this extra layer of guilt and shame around food as well. No, the thing is, health should be the number one focus. Maybe you can put aesthetics on that focus too. It can be your second focus. You get as good as you can. That's basically what it is. It's the idea of an ideal, which an ideal is something that we can never reach, but it's something that we strive for. We try to be the best we can. I don't think a lot of these women have a healthy relationship with the idea of ideals. You know, ideals are by nature of what they are something that we cannot achieve, but it's something that we work to achieve because we will never be perfect. This is just a philosophical concept that I feel like they've completely lapsed and they have no idea how to handle it at all. And it's kind of stupid. It's very anti-intellectual in my opinion. And I think y'all are dumb. Basically, I think you are dumb. I think it's literally stupid. It's like you're not intelligent enough to see that ideals are something we strive for, but we can't actually reach. but we do what we can. So there is no rainbow pot of gold, but there is, I got as close as I can get. I'm maintaining my health as long as I can. I'm surviving at a very base level. Like if we get to our DNA, we are surviving. We are thriving. We are doing what we can to survive and continue on. That is what every single living being on the planet, unless if there's something seriously wrong, wants. And human beings are no different. And that is what it's about. And to make it about anything else, it's just kind of stupid. And again, sometimes we have bad societal standards, or sometimes we have stupid standards that we're believing in that maybe we do need to reflect on. But also, too, sometimes it is about health, and they never talk about that because it's not about being perfect. It never has been. That's stupid, too. So if a diet culture person or somebody who's trying to help you downsize tells you you need to be perfect, they're stupid. They're wrong. But by the same token, if somebody's telling you not to try at all, that's also stupid. It's imbalanced either way. Getting rid of that shame and guilt, the presence of which is likely evidence of the toxic ritualistic, is what these anti-diet crusaders are all about. Thomas teaches her clients and readers of her book, The Art of Intuitive Eating. So intuitive eating, it's not the be-all end-all of recovery. Recovery is about accepting reality. So what is reality? Reality is calories matter. Calories are real. Reality is food is not emotional. Am I putting emotion into food, then it's not actually real. If it's not anything more than a light feeling of pleasure or disgust, if something tastes gross, if it's about nostalgia, if it's about my deep feelings of whatever, like if it's something that I'm going to cry about, that's a problem. Okay, like we've reached a point where we've left reality. Food is not something that we cry about. Food is something that you will experience mild pleasure or mild irritation or disgust. That's basically what it is. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, this brownie tastes really good. The second brownie, it doesn't taste as good. This third one is actually really gross. That's what it is. But is it your whole life? No. Can you be happy about having a brownie today? Yeah. Can you be like, I probably shouldn't have the brownie? You can be like that, but is it, I guess I probably shouldn't eat this, or is it, oh my God, I shouldn't eat this? You see? What's the level of intensity there? One of them is toxic ritualistic, the other one isn't. A lot of it has to do with the obsession, the behaviors that go into it. Remember, guilt is not enough to be the toxic ritualistic. There has to be behaviors around it still. Your thoughts and feelings are not enough, but within recovery, you want to not have that many thoughts and feelings about it compared to what you're used to. I'll put it to you that way, compared to what you're used to. You don't want it to be that much. You're thinking about it too much. You're obsessed. So like I said, is it this brownie is really good? Or is it this brownie is the best thing I've ever had in my life and I have to make sure I have as much as I can because I'm never going to enjoy anything like this in my life ever again? Which one of those sounds realistic to you? Is it, I probably shouldn't eat this, but I'm going to anyways? Or is it, oh my God, I can't believe I did. Oh my God. And then you spiral about it for like an hour. That's a big difference. Huge difference between the two. Okay? I think this whole article is kind of toxic ritualistic coded. I think even writing this is bizarre. But I try to bring attention to that because it shows like the underpinnings of what they're talking about. And again, they even say what the roots of it are. You know, this writer is even talking about it. So it's not even really hidden. Okay. At the core of it, intuitive eating is about learning to eat with your physiological and psychological cues. It's about hunger and satiation and comfort. It's about responding to those cues without guilt, without shame. The non-diet movement is about looking after your physical and mental and emotional health. Okay, but what if looking after our physical health has to do with shifting our weight? Then what do we do? What if our mental health is affected by our weight? What if our emotional health is affected by our weight? Our weight can affect all three of those things. So, I do personally, I advocate for intuitive eating in terms of macros. I think that our bodies can need different ratios on different days, but the amount, I'm a counting girly pop. I think that works, and I do advocate for it because it keeps you realistic too. You want to stay in reality, always. So that means no restriction, no eliminating food groups, no fads, no food plans. It means reverting to a natural way of eating. So this is not healthy either. So again, we're not looking at the implications of this down the line. Because are you also saying there's no eating more if we need to as well? And it's just weird. Like the bias is wild in these people. What other area of life can we have zero limits and it's okay? Why is this the one? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. It means reverting to a natural way of eating where we trust our natural sense of hunger, satiate our cravings, and eat freely. So this argument, this would mean that you'd have to get rid of all types of diet culture, which includes ones like Oreos, fast food, dyes, you're still going to have some level of reductiveness if we're going to be eating natural. So you're still wrong. It just doesn't work. The way that you're talking about it, this isn't working. But again, it tends to be really hypocritical. It just does. It tends to be hypocritical, in my opinion. This is a thought Eve Simmons, co-author of Eat It Anyway, Fight the Food Fads, Beat Anxiety, and Eat in Peace, echoes. What happens naturally when we're not inundated with all these messages about diet and anxiety around food is that we just eat what we want, what we need and want, and then leave it. The message is exactly the same from people who've been studying diet and nutrition for decades, and it is that the only thing you need to do is eat a balanced diet with a range of different foods and not eliminate or reduce yourself from anything. So, I still think amount is really important to consider because our body's natural tendency is going to be towards maintaining. So again, your body is going to be geared towards maintaining where you're at. And if where you're at is fine, then that's okay. But if where you're at is not fine, then you're going to have to shift it. So amount is going to matter. It absolutely is going to matter. But other than that, I would agree. I don't think you have to cut anything out unless if you have specific issues or reasons why you need to. But at the same time, if you don't want to have certain things and they're not essential, then it doesn't really matter. So you have to figure that out as long as you're getting everything you need. It's up to the person. Okay. In January and every month, we have to eat for our mental and physical health. We have to eat for social interaction, happiness. All these other messages are just noise. This is just a bizarre sentence, to be honest. I think this is weird. And I also think, too, you're going to have hardly anybody who advocates to not eat at all. I mean, that doesn't make sense either. So that's a weird projection. Simmons and her co-author Dennison have lived with the toxic ritualistic, and Thomas with whatever, I guess, which puts them in powerful position to understand and sympathize with the anxieties we all have around food in our bodies. But also, if they're not recovered, then they're not good sources because they're going to project it onto everybody. They're probably not out of the issue. And so they're going to have some manipulated narratives around it. That's really important. So you have to look like, do they have healthy views of food? Ask them certain questions. Do calories matter? That's a great one to ask. Doesn't matter. If somebody says no, then don't listen. You need to run. If somebody says that, it's like, oh my God. And they usually say no, it doesn't. Like they'll just say it. They'll say it boldly, confidently. I think you'll see it. That's a really easy one. I hope I've taught you guys some things of what to do in terms of trying to suss out if you ask, like, is there a healthy weight range? If they say no, you gotta run. Gotta get out of there. They've learned the hard way, as I have, that trying to shrink yourself, trying to take up as little space in this world as possible. Again, this is a false dichotomy. I'm not trying to take up as little space in the world, and this is very emotional language. And also, I'm not currently trying to downsize at all. I'm actually trying to build muscle, but that would still not apply. Like, you would still be telling me what I'm doing is wrong. It makes their plight to help women accept themselves even more persuasive. Again, why are you targeting women so much? I don't like that. Their books are timely, important, accessible manuals for a new way of treating ourselves, our bodies, and our relationship with food. I don't like this term for people in the TR. I really don't like it. You shouldn't have a relationship with food. Food is something you consume. You don't have a relationship with it. It's basically an object. To make it through the labyrinth of January marketing, try eating as normal, exercising as much as you want to, and being kind yourself. And as Simmons says, bear in mind that you're enough. Try, if you can, to remind yourself that you are worth something and that you're loved, and that it is undoubtedly the most important thing. Beating yourself up for not being or looking a certain way is not worth it. It isn't doing anyone any good. You are enough as you are. Well, these are spiritual things. Again, I would advocate to try to keep a lot of fitness conversation. I mean, you can talk about it from a spiritual perspective, but I still think you should separate spiritual concepts from physical concepts because they are different, and we have to think about them differently, and we have to process them differently. So I agree, people are worthy, etc., but that doesn't change the fact that you're overweight or under what you should be, or it doesn't change the fact that you do have certain health goals or aesthetic goals that you want, and you're going to need to take certain steps, even if you need to take care of yourself and do it from a place of prioritizing health above aesthetic. That's my opinion. And I am going to tell you what I think you should do, because I'm not a hypocrite and I don't say that nobody else should tell you, but I'm going to tell you what I think. And that's what I think. So I don't think you should beat yourself up about it. I don't think that's productive. It's kind of a waste of energy, to be honest. I think you just need to step up and do it and just get it done. You know, that's basically my stance. With that, you guys, I'm going to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Bye.